Hello and welcome to Yorkshire Voice on Wednesday the 24th of May with me, Jack Goodman.
And me, Lena Arshad. Coming up on today's programme, police increase their presence after the terror threat is raised to critical.
Leeds United officially have a new owner.
And we take a trip to the magical world of Harry Potter.
But first, in the wake of the terrible attack in Manchester on Monday, security services have begun to beef up their presence across the country.
This comes after reports suggesting that the man responsible for the atrocity may not have been acting alone.
Our reporter Tom Connell was down in Leeds today to see what efforts police are making to maintain order.
After Monday's attack on Manchester, the UK has raised its terror threat to critical, meaning another attack could be imminent. Today in Leeds, an increased police presence was evident across the city. At the train station, passengers were being asked to look for anything suspicious, and armed officers have been patrolling.
You can feel the presence of the security here, which, you know, is understandable.
Make you feel safer having armed police around us?
Yeah, that's a difficult question to answer because yes, in a sense, if they provide you with this security that you need, but it becomes a police state, and I think you have to be careful we don't become a police state or a militarized, ground forces in the city. We have to be careful we don't get, the same as Israel.
For some, though, the presence of armed police is reassuring.
I mean, you never know. They didn't know what was going to happen in Manchester that night. I guess it makes me feel a little bit safer knowing that, there's security around and whatnot.
At Headingley this afternoon, England are playing against South Africa. Security in and around the stadium has been stepped up with bag checks as usual, but also armed police patrolling outside the ground. It's all with the aim of preventing a repeat of the tragic events in Manchester on Monday. Tom Connell in Leeds for Yorkshire Voice.
Meanwhile, details have been emerging over the last few days about some of the 22 people who lost their lives in Monday's attack. 12 of the victims have been named so far, among them Katie Brewster from Sheffield, who reportedly shielded her niece from the blast, and Marcin and Angelica Cliss from York.
Appeals from friends and family had been made on Facebook for their whereabouts, but unfortunately they were identified earlier this morning. A Just Giving page has been set up to support the Cliss daughters, one of whom is a student at York College.
Many others are still missing, including Wendy Farwell from Otley. The thoughts of everyone here at Yorkshire Voice are with all of those affected.
Brighter times are on the horizon for Leeds United. Controversial owner Massimo Cellino has sold his 50% stake in the club to Andrea Radrizzani. The West Yorkshire club have had their best season under Cellino, with many suggesting the absence of the president during the last season helped it to be successful. Reports have shown that the takeover will be good news for current head coach Gary Monk, as the Whites look to extend his contract by a further 12 months. Sam Brooksbank has sent us this report.
Stability at Leeds United is not a sentence you can say very often with the West Yorkshire club, but that might just be around the corner. Italian maverick Massimo Cellino has sold his 50% stake in the club to Italian businessman Andrea Radrizzani, who controls the other 50%. Cellino's time as club president has seen 6 head coaches, a ban from the Football League and several court cases back in Italy for tax evasion. These fans outside Ellen Road are happy to see Cellino move on.
It's been turbulent under Cellino. It was nice last season, obviously, because things were going well on the pitch. But it was nice to be spoken about for football terms rather than Cellino wanting to be a newspaper.
I think he came in with all the purpose of transforming the club and investing in it, and then I think his history and his previous clubs show what he's done there. He's sort of backtracked on a lot of his promises.
New sole owner Radrizzani bought a 50% stake in the club back in January, and buying out Cellino has pleased the fans. But what should be his first job on his to-do list?
Ensure that Gary Monk signs a new contract.
4-year deal with Gary Monk. He has got to get Gary Monk signed up. The last season, will mean nothing if we can't keep Gary Monk, because he's going to be attracting so many clubs now. When you look at clubs coming down, I'm not sure if Sunderland have got a manager yet, but that's a massive club with all that Premiership money behind it. So, if you look at it now, people are moaning that we had too many wingers last year, but they've all gone now because they're all loan signings. So, we need to get Gary Monk on a 4-year deal and back him, absolutely back him.
In a statement on the club's website, Massimo Cellino wished Radrizzani all the best and said that if you can survive working with me, then you can survive anything. Many people at the club, including the fans and the press, are hoping that controversy will not follow Leeds United around like it has done over the past 3 years. With the controversial era of Massimo Cellino coming to an end, which has seen 2 Football League bans, an attempt to ban the media from broadcasting a game and 6 managers in 3 years, the fans and the club can maybe, just maybe, be optimistic that the club is finally in the right hands. Many believe that if Gary Monk is offered the contract extension he deserves, then the future will be all white. Sam Brooksbank for Yorkshire Voice.
It's fairly well known that sports people often have short careers, with most retiring in their mid-30s. But what do they do after they pack up? Our reporter Oliver Lyons has been to find out why one cricketer has chosen his particular post-retirement path.
Changing careers is never easy, but how do you go from professional cricket to opening a coffee shop? I spoke to a former Surrey fast bowler to find out.
My enforced retirement was actually a good thing because actually in one career I've already had the opportunity to do something that I loved and was really passionate about, and once you've experienced that, I find it very difficult not to say, well, why don't I go and do that again? And also, the funny thing through my coffee shop is what I want to create is that I want to hopefully enthuse and inspire other people to go down that road as well. I mean, I do think, spend a lot of time working, you might as well do something that you're really passionate about. Don't waste your time doing something you hate. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you earn, it's not going to make you happy. So I want my coffee shop to be an embodiment of that. The funny thing is that half of this is my way of imprinting what I really believe. It's not just about coffee. It's also about actually having a really positive environment, which is encouraging people to go out there and hopefully achieve what they want to achieve. And I want to be able to say, in 5 years' time, I want to be able to say that I did it in my cricket career and I did it in a completely different field where I had none of the skills, I had none of the business acumen, I had none of the things that I needed in order to make it in coffee. And I want to be able to say, well, but actually I kept going, and even though at times it was really frigging hard, I did it. And I want to be able to say that I've managed to do that in 2 different fields, and that is such a big driver for me, because I'm sat here talking to you now and it makes me feel uncomfortable because I haven't actually done this yet. Like, I've not got a property and it's frustrating me. And I've always seen myself as a doer. I'm a doer. I get things done, and then I'm in a position to hopefully let my actions speak for themselves.
Tim loved to do just that on the cricket field and is continuing to do it as he digs into the history of where his coffee beans come from.
I've done a lot of research into actually the ethical side of coffee, the history of coffee, how it's got into the country and all that sort of stuff. Great coffee comes from great product to start off with, great beans, ethically sourced, great machinery and a great barista, and a nice environment and customer service to go along with it. Like, you've got to have all of those, because coffee is not just about the taste of it, it's also how does it make you feel, the impact it has on your day, and does it mean that you can sit around a table with your friends or your colleagues and have 10 minutes just to yourself.
That looks good, but how does it taste?
It's actually very good.
That was Oliver Lyons reporting for Yorkshire Voice there.
Now, a charity in Barnsley are providing food to a record number of vulnerable people. Fair Share Yorkshire supply food that would normally be thrown away by companies to charities and community groups across the county.
Kelly Woodward went to see the team.
Fair Share Yorkshire supports over 164 charities and community groups in Doncaster, Leeds, Bradford and many more places across the county. They provide support through the food they deliver to groups that feed vulnerable people in Yorkshire. The charity rely heavily on volunteers and are always looking for more people to help them and to ultimately provide food for the vulnerable.
We're a really strong volunteer-led organisation. We have anything up to 35 volunteers working with us here at Barnsley and also in Leeds as well. Those volunteers do a variety of roles, so as we've seen today, lots of them are helping us sort the food that's arrived this morning. And some of the volunteers also drive the vans as well and deliver that food to the charities we supply. One of the really strong points of what Fair Share's expanding this year is to support some of our volunteers who are looking to get back into work, to support them with that. So we are providing some accredited training, we can give them forklift truck licences, and also help them with some employability skills around the CV writing and interview skills. And then working with some of our food industry partners, look to help them secure full-time employment with them. We're always looking for great dedicated volunteers. We've got a variety of roles that volunteers can do. So if people want to come and volunteer with us, please contact us. You can go on our website, which is fairshareyorkshire.org, or look us up on Twitter and Facebook as well, and we can get in contact with you and send an application form, and else we can discuss what sort of roles you'd like to do.
Keely Neal now has a full-time job at Fair Share after completing an apprenticeship with the charity. Keely told me why she wanted to volunteer.
I don't have to explain it really, I just heard about it and then I thought, it's charity, I might as well volunteer, see if I can do some sort of impacting and being food, get people fed and so on. I'd say we need more volunteers. I won't mind it, because it make it a lot easier in the afternoon, because usually in the morning we get volunteers and then they go in to buy dinner. They can do it more in the afternoon, you know what I mean?
This year, Fair Share Yorkshire have successfully supplied 1.5 million meals to people who need it most in Yorkshire. Overall, 14,000 people get fed a week due to the work of the charity. Fair Share provide the food to different charities and community groups throughout the week.
So we supply food, say, to close to over 200 charities, community groups and schools, and there could be a variety of reasons. They could be providing after-school clubs, breakfast clubs, luncheon clubs, anything where people are coming together who are vulnerable, who are being provided with food, but also those additional services as well that supports them.
Fair Share's motto is fighting hunger, tackling food waste, and that is exactly what they are doing. Kelly Woodward reporting for Yorkshire Voice.
Now, if you're looking for something fun to do this weekend, I'd recommend that you snap yourselves over to Huddersfield Art Gallery to take a look at some of the county's finest photography work. Our reporter Ellie Rigby went down to check it out.
It's a flash of talent as Huddersfield Art Gallery this year hosts the annual Yorkshire Photographic Union exhibition. From over 3,000 prints and images entered, the gallery is showcasing the best 200 frame prints and 200 digital images from amateur photographers from clubs across the county.
And it's the high spot for them if they can get one of their prints or one of their projected digital images on the wall here in the gallery. It's hosted at different places every year. We've hosted it here in Huddersfield because we have this fine space to do it, and it moves around to different places within the county every year. But this is the high spot. I particularly like the work of Andrea Hargreaves, who was judged best in show because of the sheer number of accepted prints and images. She's extremely creative.
But why are people still so enamoured by photography? What is it about a photograph that is so important to people that the technological advances of moving image and film will never replace? Will the power of photography always prevail in our fast-paced society?
And it's great to see how still photography, despite all the technology of moving image, still is held dear by many photographers and many people throughout the world. People still take pictures every day with their camera phones now, don't they? There's probably more images taken now than there have ever been before. But for an exhibition like this, it's down to choosing what you think other people will like as well as what you like, and then producing it to the best quality that you can achieve. I mean, a few years ago, I was feeling that maybe still photography would die out in the video revolution. But the issue with video is that because it's moving, I think the human eye likes to linger on something a little longer. And the great thing about a print is that you can gaze at it and you can see different things each time you look at it, maybe, if it's quite a complex print with a lot of detail in it, and you can let your eye rest on it, and you can put it on the wall at home. You know, I'm sure there'll be prints here that people would love to have on their own wall, because it may be restful, it may be challenging, it may go with the decor, there's a whole host of reasons. So I think there's something about coming up with a static image that a moving image doesn't quite do.
And if you'd like to see more of the work displayed, the annual exhibition is running until the 2nd of September. Ellie Rigby for Yorkshire Voice.
You can't say that Goblet of Fire is the best Harry Potter book.
We've just been having a debate about which Harry Potter book we think it's the best. Obviously, it's Goblet of Fire.
How can you say that? It's obviously the Half-Blood Prince.
Well, anyway, the reason we're having this discussion is because a new Harry Potter themed shop has opened in the Shambles, York's very own Diagon Alley. I went down to experience the magic firsthand. It's gone from a children's novel to a timeless worldwide franchise, and now the Harry Potter saga has taken a new step in Yorkshire with the opening of a shop devoted to the story. The shop that must not be named is in York and is run by Harry Potter fans who believe that the wizarding world continues to live on.
It's a timeless story. It's got so many different depths and fathoms, to it as well. And I think because J.K. Rowling really loves her fans and keeps releasing new information, she built Pottermore. I think she's really kind of keeping the stories alive for people. And I do think that the new stories, although they seem like they're not as related, they are in the same world, which is what people love. They love the wizarding world, and they love the parallel with the Muggles and all the charms and spells and the history, because there's so much depth to it. She's made such a massive world with a history that you just get addicted to it, and I think it's timeless. It's a timeless story.
Welcome, Muggles. It's the sister shop of Give a Dog a Bone, a shop in York which previously had a high demand from customers for Harry Potter merchandise.
We found that actually we were ordering so much Harry Potter stock over at the other shop that it was starting to kind of take over a little bit because it was just selling really well and it was really popular. And what happened was the owner and his sons started watching Harry Potter together, and they're watching The Philosopher's Stone, and they were all just chatting about it, and his little boy loves it and just was like, oh my god, Dad. And so they were talking about it as like wouldn't it be fun if we had a shop? And then he just started putting it into place. And when this obviously came available, he was like, we've got to go. We have to do it because it's the Shambles and it looks so much like Diagon Alley. And it's perfect time for us because we were so, over there, we're very comfortable and we're very happy over there. It's all sorted and cool. So he wanted a new challenge. So this is it. Magic.
We have flying keys, handmade by the staff members here. We also have the flickering lights on the chandeliers above, stars on the ceiling. We basically just wanted to get a sort of a vibe of if you were walking down Diagon Alley, what you would expect from the inside. So we also have handmade letters and potion bottles, just to throw a couple of things in there that felt very wizard-like. Well, I think the Shambles resembles Diagon Alley. There's no direct link, but it certainly is the closest thing I think York has to sort of a wizarding street. And just when the premise became available, I just think there wasn't really the option of sort of turning it down and missing that opportunity.
With its location in the Shambles and the attention to detail from the devoted fans who run the shop that must not be named is sure to be a magical experience for tourists and locals alike. From York, for Yorkshire Voice, I'm Lena Arshad.
Well, looks like you had a good morning, didn't it?
I did indeed. So,
tell me a little bit about that shop. Were the staff who worked there in fancy dress? Were they dressed up as characters?
Yeah, they were all dressed up as characters. The lady at the end was dressed up as Professor Trelawney. I noticed that as soon as I went in. But there were so many people interested. Like, there were people literally queuing outside the door like a school. So many different people were coming in. It was just crazy, really. Like, it's not that big a shop, but it was crowded when we went in.
And the Shambles is quite a crowded street anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the Shambles is a very good place to put it as well, because obviously it just looks exactly like Diagon Alley if you've ever been.
Did they say what the most popular kind of stuff they've got there is?
They actually said the smaller stuff, so I would have thought that would have been like maybe the bigger outfits or things, but they said like small little trinkets because people don't want to walk around in the full outfit all the time, but just like a little thing, so which was quite surprising, but yeah, it was great.
Magical, you might say.
Yeah, some might say.
That's about all we've got time for on this afternoon's Yorkshire Voice. If you ever want to get involved in the conversation, we're always happy to hear from you. We're at Yorkshire V on Twitter. As I say, that's all we've got time for, but thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Goodbye.